Ubisoft showed off 7 minutes of gameplay from the player's perspective at Ubisoft Forward. So I wanted to dive in, really look at the meat and potatoes, the parkour, the stealth, the assassinations, and let you guys know what I think. I'm also going to reference this Return to Roots video that they uploaded last week, which you guys should absolutely watch if you haven't already. It really shows the nitty-gritty details and some really exciting returning features. Let's start with parkour, which is really the main thing that you see in the first part of this gameplay. Basim running around the streets after assassinating a target and escaping the enemy. Now what we're seeing is what I would call a route, like a pre-made route that Ubisoft made in this city. It's very easy to follow, so it's not like there was a lot of decision making here, but that was just because of the way this was shown and played. Because if you look at the city and the way it's laid out and designed, this is absolutely designed for decision making and parkour. There are actually many different routes that Basim could have taken here, and that's not something I could have said about Valhalla. There were very predefined parkour routes where it was like, go play on the playset and you can follow this and that's your parkour. Have fun, kid. Not in this game. You're actually going to get to pick your path, which is really exciting. Basim looks faster in parkour than Eivor because he is faster. And we know this because of the Return to the Roots video. They actually say, yeah, we made Basim faster. He moves faster, he transitions faster, he's got faster animations. And so it's not just a look thing, it's also going to be a feel thing, which was one of my big pet peeves and something I was still worried about. Now, I still don't love the look of the jumps. It still has that weird jump arc that was introduced in Origins where it's like you've got some momentum and then you sort of like drop hard like a sack of potatoes. It's very strange, and they kept that in. I understand why. You know, this was supposed to be a Valhalla DLC, so it's not a major gripe, but it is there. And then there's a certain amount of stickiness to this parkour that sort of bothers me, where it looks like Basim's moving from point to point and he's sticking to it for a second and then moving forward. It doesn't seem like there's a sense of momentum, and maybe I just need to have the game in my hands to feel that, or maybe it's not there, because again, this was supposed to be in Valhalla initially. Either way, in the Return to Roots video, they said they specifically designed this parkour system to make you feel like you're Ezio. It's closer to Ezio, it's about keeping the flow and the momentum, and it was designed around verticality. So they also brought back some stuff from previous games, like the corner swing, vaulting over objects, and elevators, which is a great way to just get verticality really quickly. That's returning, and then you've got pole vaults as well. Overall, with parkour, I do like what I'm seeing. I don't think I'm going to get bothered by the extreme technical details of being able to side hop or side eject or do all these very, specific advanced moves that were in previous games. I think that's a high bar to set for this game, and I don't think it's going to hit it. But the fact that he moves faster and there's a lot more opportunities to parkour in the city, that's really what I want, and that's what they're delivering. Now let's turn our attention towards assassinations, because that's the first thing that happens in this gameplay. Basim is hunting down a target, gets above, and executes the air assassination. It looks awesome. One minor gripe here though, the way the camera moves. It did this again in Valhalla. I hope they change that. It's weird that my character goes out of the view of the shot. Like I want to see my character the entire time, swooping in and assassinating. But every single time the Hidden Blade is used in this gameplay, it's a one-shot. So it does not feel like the Hidden Blade's not going to be a one-shot in this game, even though you've got enemies with health bars and guard or like stance bars as well for combat. Like it looks like lethal Hidden Blade is just a guarantee. Now I will say a lot of these assassination animations, I just think they could still be faster. I know Basim is faster in general. The fact that he's using the Hidden Blade and sort of there's this big wind up, jab, and then a big wind back to retract it. I just think this could be a bit faster. But this brings us to the multi-kill assassination, what they're calling assassin focus. Now, I had a hunch, guys. I really had a hunch when I was watching the gameplay trailer 2 weeks ago that this was Isu magic. I pointed it out. It is. It's Isu magic. I don't know how else to describe it, or it's a very artful way of showing off what it looks like to kill people really quickly. This is just not my cup of tea, straight up. I'm going to try to avoid this if possible. I don't want to use something that makes me look like what Basim actually, technically is according to the story. That's just not something that's interesting to me or that interests me. And I really just wish that it was Basim moving quickly, even if I'm painting targets like Splinter Cell Conviction or Batman Arkham Knight, with the Fear Multi takedown. Just the fact that it's teleporting and it's not just Basim moving really quickly, that would have made a difference in my head, strangely enough. And it's just a, cognitive dissonance thing. I just wish that it was more grounded in reality rather than this mystical thing. I know not everyone cares about that, but I do. And it's okay, because again, I'm just gonna try to avoid it if I can. I'm still hoping it's gonna be possible to pull off sort of multi-kill assassinations in just a manual way rather than using this ability. On a more positive note, the Return to the Roots gameplay shows us more about assassinations and really kind of explains that Basim's job is going to be tracking down and killing Order of the Ancients targets, which I'm so glad that this is back. Like, this is the main part of the game. Your targets that you're hunting down and killing. It's not a separate menu that you're hunting down these people as sort of like another main mission. No, this is the focus of the game. That's what I want. We get to see Bureau in this gameplay and sort of talking with Roshan and other agents and actually getting some assassination contracts, which, like, yes, I'm so excited for that. Even if they are going to be like maybe procedurally generated on some level, I'm down for that. You know, I'm really wanting to get back to the core gameplay loop of investigating, tracking down, and killing. Like, that's a main part of the game, not just something you can do if you want to. They also confirmed in Return to Roots that this is black box. So the assassinations we're going to be doing, you're not going to be told exactly where they are. You are going to have to investigate, search around, get information, and then, you know, execute a plan, which that's just what I want. I know I'm saying that a lot, but that's exactly what I want. It's really good to hear. All right, let's move on to stealth, which I guess I'm just kind of making a broad category here. I'm including social stealth and notoriety and wanted posters and all that good stuff, which is absolutely here, and it gets me so excited. This is probably, for me, the best part of this gameplay and the Return to the Roots video. At the very beginning, you can see there's a notoriety meter in the bottom right, and they've got little icons. One appears to be like guards are on the lookout for you. You know, they'll attack if you do something aggressive in front of them. Then once the assassination happens, we go to like conflict. So now there's archers on roofs, you're being chased, and you've got the little detected icon below the compass as well. As Basim is going around, we encounter an archer, he survives, he keeps running away. Eventually, that little icon disappears. But as you'll notice, as we're jumping into the bureau from the roof, which, oh my God, thank God they kept that, we still have like 2 out of 3 bars of notoriety, which means wanted posters. We're gonna have to go around, grab these wanted posters, take them down, maybe bribe officials, maybe there will be informants, you know, all the good stuff from the old games. But the reason notoriety is so awesome to me, it's such an interesting system, is because it changes the way the city interacts to you. So because of your actions, people know to look for you, and it makes the city more aggressive and aware. And that's just, it's just another layer that completes an Assassin's Creed game to me. There is one moment in this gameplay where you see the yellow detection icon, which is, we know something's wrong, we have seen you maybe, but we don't have a direct line of sight on you. But this is the only time it's seen, which is interesting. Now, what's kind of weird is if you go forward in the gameplay, the notoriety bar disappears. So I don't know what that's about, even after you get seen, like it doesn't increase. So I'm not sure, maybe it's just because it's a work in progress build, whatever, but that's something to note. In the second half of the gameplay, where we're doing the assassination contract, we get to see Basim use Eagle Vision, which, oh my God, when I saw this, I was so happy. It's not just a little ping, like you can actually sit, observe, and survey and look around. So pleased with that. And then we see social stealth in the form of blending, and it's what I want, and it's what they're doing. It feels, this is a new feeling. I haven't felt this in a long time. And then Basim moves forward using a dedicated stealth button, which actually was not in the original games, if you guys remember. And we're moving through some flowers, which is, you know, awesome. At this point, I just want to go to the Return to the Roots video because they say specifically and show us some gameplay that they've improved AI detection, that enemies are more responsive and more reasonable. This specifically addresses one of my biggest issues with Valhalla: inconsistent, unreasonable, unresponsive stealth mechanics. AI, it was just a crapshoot. You never knew when you were going to get seen from a specific distance. Now, the jury's still out if this stuff actually works. It's still built upon Valhalla code, right? But just the knowledge that they know and they actually worked to redo this stuff and make it right, I'm gonna give them a chance because I really hope this works. It's kind of the bedrock of this gameplay loop. It's gonna have to work basically, or else it's not gonna feel good. And then we also get a much better look at blending with crowds in the Return to the Roots video. So Further proof that social stealth is back, and it looks pretty good to me. And also, we're going to be able to bribe factions with certain tokens in order to get by guards. And they show us this really small gameplay. I was cracking up at this because it's like a fraction of the screen. But yeah, just another old school mechanic that I guess was in Valhalla in a certain form, but just didn't feel that good. Hopefully it feels better here. And then there's these small scenes of what looks like blending from a bench to assassinate from the Ezio games. And also sneakily the best part of any of this stuff they've shown for Mirage so far, the rooftop garden assassination, which again confirms that rooftop gardens are a thing, which I just wish that they included that in the 7-minute gameplay. Like, seeing Basim assassinate that target and then escape by finding a rooftop garden would have probably made me squeal. Now let's talk about everything else, stuff like combat and tools, and also how the bureau seems to work. And let's start with the fact that it looks like there's no dialogue choices. Maybe this is just a specific cutscene like we had in Valhalla, for example, where there was no choice, Eivor would just talk. But I really hope we're not making dialogue choices in this game. I don't think it makes sense for Assassin's Creed. As you guys know, that's something I'm pretty passionate about. So I hope we just get a very tailored story that we're being told about Basim. On that note, Basim's face doesn't look very good to me. I don't know what it is. I hope it's still a work in progress. You know, Eivor's face didn't look that great when I played Valhalla before it came out. Maybe this is something that can improve. I certainly hope so. Either way, we get to look at some tools, the 6 tools that are going to be in the game. There's the blow dart, the noisemaker, the smoke bomb, the trap. I think there's some poison, throwing knife, and then I guess they're counting the torch as one of them. And there's several moments in this gameplay of all of this stuff working, and it looks like it's working fairly well. I think, you know, tools in general worked fine in Valhalla, maybe a little inconsistent like a lot of things in that game. So I hope they just sort of tighten the nuts on that and sort of really make sure that the stuff actually works. I love the inclusions of traps specifically. We get to see one, it's like a poison trap that goes off because it reminds me of Assassin's Creed Revelations, which I do think is just a wholly underrated game in this franchise. And small detail here, but super important, look at the way the button prompts, you know, come up here. It looks like we're gonna have just quick use access of multiple tools, which I think is fantastic. Not having to pause the game and go through the wheel, that's actually an innovation where I thought a lot of this stuff was just gonna go back. This is actually pushing forward on that old formula in a very small way, but hey, it's enough to get someone like me excited. On the assassination contract, we get to see the bird for recon in Kidu, but it gets shot down because there are archers. I love that gameplay mechanic. It feels realistic, and of course they would see a bird flying above, like obviously that's their whole job. But I'm also really interested to see how the bird is going to help in the classic sort of way that you play an Assassin's Creed game. You know, with the hide and go seek loop and blending in and, you know, doing some recon, some investigation to find out more about your targets, I feel like the bird is an interesting mix in that. So I'm just excited to see more. Now, we really only see one glimpse of combat in this gameplay, and it's after Basim gets his target in the assassination contract, and he manages to parry or deflect this guy, and then there's a kill prompt that comes up, and it's an instant kill. Now, we don't know the exact mechanics of this, but if this is just like a confirmation that if you do get a counter, you get a counter kill, fantastic. I mean, that's incredible. That's exactly what I want. These guys still have like stamina bars though and health bars. There's also the option to kick back. So maybe that's, you know, if you want some more hand-to-hand combat and don't want an immediate kill, you can go for that. But yeah, this is hopeful, cautious optimism on this. I mean, I would love for counter kill to come back. I know some people don't think that's a good thing. I do. In the Return to Roots video, there's a specific mention that, and I think they've mentioned this in interviews as well, but they do say that this is a stealth first game, and Basim specifically wants to stealth first and combat as a last resort. So I could very much see them going for this approach of combat is counter kill because you're not going to be using it as much as stealth. Some final notes, there are some enemy types that will poke their spears into hay, just like they used to. Love to see that. Also some enemies that will call for backup reinforcements if you don't kill them. There's this concept art of Basim killing a guy from a well, which just screams the Ezio games. Love to see that. Here's another concept art of Basim sort of sneaking around and looking at this guy give, you know, a public address. This could be someone you could bribe, a herald, like the original game. And then finally, there's a nostalgia mode that turns on that blue-gray filter that the first game had that was so iconic and so unique. And I think I'm definitely going to be trying this out when I play the game. All right, so clearly this is a really positive video on Assassin's Creed, and I just want to let you know that I'm keeping my hype in check, but I am still very excited for what they're doing here. If anything, it's a step in the direction that I think they should be going in. And even though this is a $50 game as opposed to one of their big budget, you know, AAA $70 titles that are bigger than they really should be, the fact that they're committing to this, and this is like, you know, not just something that's coming alongside their next game, but this is the Assassin's Creed game coming out next, it gives me some hope that this could happen again. And perhaps we'll get more smaller games like this, city games, you know, like we used to have that, hey, might even be cheaper than the price of a brand new game. If this does work and it's a hit for Ubisoft, I mean, you know they're going to follow the money and they're going to make another one. So I just hope that it is, you know, it's going to really be a punch in the gut if this sucks. So we'll see. All right, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, remember to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Also, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and hit the bell so you don't miss my next one. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.